Welcome everybody here to your coverage of the Esports World Cup. That's right, it's being played in Paris, but we're casting in here from Germany, remoting in to the Dota 2 server prepared up by Valve. Thank you very much to those guys for actually doing that for us. It means we can see this game, and we're going to start off our day with 4GL going up against NextKz. They're known as GamersLeague, as you see it down there, but it's actually 4GL is the tag they fly under. So yes, without further ado, let's get ourselves into the game. Of course, we had a couple of delays today before we were going to start up. And that was just due to, I believe, some IT issues, players wanting to warm up, because it is very, very cold in Paris. It was actually an interview with, I think it was actually Angel. Yeah, it was an interview with Angel and Rise, and they're talking about how cold it is. They're just trying to rub their hands during the game, just try and keep themselves warm and actually having those limber fingers kind of thing to keep on playing. We'll give ourselves some game sound as well. And, yeah, so good morning, everybody. All afternoon, evening, wherever you are around the world. I know I said morning before on the stream, and some guy said, it's 6 p.m. here, man. International game, man. International game. You gotta love it. Obviously, I am by myself right now because both my co-commentators are from around the European area and they're basically asleep in their beds. We are playing on a Monday as well, so if you are actually managing to get the day off work so you can actually watch the ESWC, well done to you. It's great to actually have you here. We, of course, will be going through into Tuesday tomorrow as well. If you do miss any of the action, the VODs are uploaded. All the matches which we shoutcast yesterday are already uploaded on the joindota.com website, so joindota.com/VODs. You can check them out all there, which is, yeah, a pretty easy place to actually go to actually find out all your VODs. Interesting to actually just note right now too, NextKz taking their sweet-ass time to do any form of ban, so I don't know if they've actually just taking their time to think right now or if there's actually an issue with the server. I will actually just double-check that right now too. So we'll just message our guys on the deck. So hopefully NextKz hasn't disappeared. Hey, there we go. They banned off their Tidehunter. That was actually not a random ban. That was actually a proper ban. Tidehunter generally not banned out in the first slot because there's a lot of big heroes which are so powerful at the moment. We're talking Anti-Mage, we're talking Night Stalker. We saw the last game of last night where eHome actually managed to get both of those heroes and basically dominated that game against Moscow 5. It is what caused Moscow 5 to actually get out of the tournament. Even though Moscow 5 and eHome won exactly the same amount of games, eHome is the team that advances. The way the rules work is if it's a tie, a three-way on points, then the time ranking comes in. But if it's actually just two teams who are tied on 1 point, when those two teams encountered, whoever won that match advances through. That is the rules of ESWC, same rules as last year. And that Russian website which posted up saying Moscow 5 are through was actually not true. It is actually eHome as well as Monkey that advanced through into the next round. Let's look at our next lot of bans. So we see Prophet and Chen taking out, so two neutralers. I say two neutralers being banned out by the Dire, but really Prophet is a ganker, Prophet is a pusher, Prophet is a neutraler. He can do anything he actually wants to. That's why he's always taken out of the pool. He can push anywhere he wants to. As long as the area's been revealed, he can TP there. But he will be taken out for this game. Chen also removed. Chen, a big hero, which was made very, very popular during the International. Wasn't really thought of to actually use before that point. He was actually reworked slightly with the way his abilities actually worked, but that was done a couple of months ago. So it always takes a little bit longer for these kind of changes to actually creep into the metagame to go, oh my god, that's actually a fantastic idea. And it takes these big LAN matches to go, yeah, that really was a good idea. That actually worked nicely. Yeah, guys, for people actually saying too, the joindota.com website doesn't actually work. It does. Just control F5 or take out, refresh your cache, or delete your cache, and then it should actually work again for you. We had some issues yesterday, for the good reasons though, but yeah. So the website is back up again and running. If not, just head over to Own3D TV. They have actually got a full page dedicated to the ESWC, and you can check out all the broadcasts from all the games over there. They're all labeled up there, as well as if there's the Chinese stream, if Anderson's actually awake this morning as well. I know Velar's shoutcasting in Russian, even Gosu Gamers are also shoutcasting English as well. And let's have a look at our bans and picks. It is, of course, the game we're watching, so we'll check them out. So the bans are already done. Anti-Mage was the last one taken out, so the big hard carry taken out as well. But Radiant, first pick for them, they had the first pick of all the pool as well, and they went with the Spectra. Spectra, a hero that we did actually see up yesterday, and really amazing to actually tank, and amazing once she actually gets that tank ability up, but always a bit of a clincher, because Spectra needs to have a very decent farm in the first like 15 minutes or so, and needs to get towards that Radiance early on, or at least the Vanguard early on, as a very, very farm-dependent hero, because you can tank up and you can do the burning damage, but unless you actually get pure damage onto that hero, or straight damage onto the hero, it doesn't really work for you. Spectra just becomes a big tank. It's just like, well, what am I going to do with this? Where, like, you pick up a hero like Doom, and you got that big 7-second silence, take him out of the game. What am I going to do from that point? There's level death as well, there's the burning of the ground, and there's the big tanky presence on the front lines with the Radiance burn as well. It's a great hero to actually play. So Spectra always has to go a little bit further, but should be able to do that considering Night Stalker's being picked up by the Radiant. So Night Stalker able to really keep the Dire on the back foot, and that is a whole thing of Night Stalker. Always has a little bit of a harder time early on in the game, so needs to actually be supported, and we're going to have to see 4GL really trying to gank down that Night Stalker in the early stages of the game, so he doesn't actually get like boots up, doesn't actually get the levels up. So at level 6 he's basically got 3 on Void, 3 on Stalker in the night, because he is the only hero that actually gets an advantage from the nighttime. Movement speeds increase, basically he just becomes a beefier kind of guy, and he will dive anything to kill you, and can do it as well. That's the really thing, like, he's a suicidal kind of guy, and he can do it pretty easily. So Night Stalker, he is in the mix. Windrunner also picked up too. I love always watching a Windrunner. Windrunner, one of those heroes that it takes finesse to actually play a Windrunner, to actually be in the right position for the shackle, to know when to actually Windrun. It's always the biggest thing when you try and actually gank off a Windrunner, is why she's always good for that side lane solo, and is playing for the Radiant. We should actually see her up there on that top solo lane. But Windrunner being up there, basically, you run up, you get ganked, but if she pops off Windrun, movement speed is massively increased, and you basically can't hit her because her evasion is basically maxed. So yeah, it's really, really hard to kill off that Windrunner. So Venomance will want to be ganking, Lich will want to be ganking, and they've got to try and actually time their attacks so they can shut down Windrunner. So she pops off that Windrun, but doesn't actually get to go anywhere. So either blocked by creeps, blocked by anything, just try and hold her in place. Windrun, and then actually lay off a permanent stun. But really, there's no real permanent stun from the Dire. In fact, with their entire lineup, the only stun wish they've actually got is... Actually, no, they got 2. They do actually have 2. I forgot the Lich ultimate. Ancient Apparition with the Cold Feet, but it's not a proper stun. It's not a permanent stun. If you run far enough away, then the Cold Feet has no effect. And then, of course, you have the Lich ultimate, and it's got to hit on the first one. Then you get that mini stun. But it's only on the first bounce of the Lich ultimate that you actually get that stun. Well, you look over towards the Radiant, we've got ourselves... Well, actually, we don't have ourselves 3 stuns. So, yeah, she had the mini stun out of Night Stalker, but Windrunner with the shackle, if she lands it, she lands it longer, like actually latches you onto a tree, then the stun will last longer. Wishdoctor now with the bouncing cask, so they got multiple stuns from that as long as it bounces in the right direction. So good support hero to actually pick up at this point. Not a bad hero to actually pick up as well, to actually give a little bit of life and mana to everybody. Wishdoctor always great to get those arcane boots up on, and then just basically restoration. So heals an area around him. You'll see that little green glow around him during the game, and to be giving life back to the Night Stalker to keep him on the front lines. Same with the Spectra. Night Stalker, of course, will be keeping its own life up through the earn charges. It's always an essential item whenever you pick up Night Stalker. Grab those earn charges. The more battles you're actually involved in, the more kills you're actually involved in, the more charges you actually get on your earns. So you can use them negatively. They don't deal as much damage. Oh, actually, they deal a fair amount of damage. Just enough to get somebody over the edge of actually dying, and then you cast on yourself, and you actually heal yourself up. So it works both ways. So more kills you get, more chances you have to actually heal or damage. So it works out pretty nicely. The Die now comes up with ES, so one of the best positional stuns in the game. I say positional stuns is actually a stun. A big rock wall comes down. That's called the fissure. And, well, it does create a rock wall, so really, really hard to run out there. So that's going to be one thing for Windrunner to actually be careful about. And Dazzle actually now comes up. This is the first time we've actually had Dazzle on the broadcast. Now, Dazzle is an amazing, amazing hero. A lot of people probably don't actually realize just how amazing Dazzle actually is. He's one of my favorites, especially when he's actually run as a solo mid lane. And it's actually not going to be done this time. It looks like he's actually going to be running support on the bottom lane. But with Dazzle on the field, it basically makes it impossible to actually kill anybody in the early part of the game if he is actually there. So Spectra on that bottom lane is going to be supported pretty hard there by Dazzle. And if anyone tries to actually kill off Spectra, is Shallow Grave. Now, the only thing which really goes through Shallow Grave is the Culling Blade of Axe. And Axe is not picked up, Faceless Void is actually picked up, but the Shallow Grave basically makes you... You can't kill you. It's impossible to actually die when the Shallow Grave is on top. And then he's got his Shadow Wave, which actually heals you up, as well as damages any enemies which are around it. So you can see that early on the piece as well, to try and actually get kills, while he's actually healing up his heroes on the front lines. And then, of course, the Weave ability. So Weave being his ultimate lowers the armor of the opponents and raises the armor of your allies in the area you actually cast. The area gets bigger and bigger as you actually level up, or the armor actually gets bigger and bigger. The Aghanim's gives it a larger space. Yeah, so really happy to see him. Faceless Void, not a bad pickup as well. Faceless Void, basically one of the best ways to actually counter a Spectre or Night Stalker if they decide to actually dive. You can pop off that ultimate. The animation was actually completely changed for the ultimate recently. And it was actually pretty awesome to actually see it. It's basically puts you into a chronosphere, so you end up in space, obviously. But it stops all time and space, and it allows him to actually walk around there completely free-willed. So we are now into our game. We are going to spawn off, and the heroes are moving out. Already we see NextKz heading up towards the top lane. And, well, we've actually got Night Stalker heading up there, and that's mainly just for a kill. That's all they really want. Spectre will be farming off that bottom lane. But it's these four guys will be trying to control the top lane, control the mid, and then actually roam between the two if possible, and really keep the Dire on the back foot. 4GL playing the Dire, NextKz playing the Radiant this time around. And already coming up, the ward's being placed to actually stop the creep pull. They actually spot the Faceless Void right now. They'd like to get this kill, and there's that ESWC I was talking about. There's a good fissure as well. There's no gap there to actually run through, so Windrunner in the end is just like, well, I can't get closer towards that, and ES has to waste a Clarity Potion very early on the piece. Not something he really wanted to actually do. He'd prefer to actually pop that off from Windrunner when she's actually in the lane. It actually helped with trying to kill off the creeps. But in this case, it didn't actually happen. Andre, he's playing the Ancient Apparition. Massive global presence from the Ancient Apparition. He can do it from the mid lane too. That's why he likes to go mid lane solo. And he realizes too he's going to be up against the Night Stalker in the mid. Actually, maybe you're going to have Venomancer in the mid as well as Ancient Apparition. So double combo to see if they can actually bring down the Night Stalker. Generally, they would actually realize that Night Stalker will be going mid and have support, and that support is there by Witch Doctor. So Witch Doctor just hanging up on the high ground at this point, and Venomancer is the only one wanting to show himself. Witch Doctor will come in for the mid lane gank. And, well, he's going to get spotted off there by the Ancient Apparition. So good timing there by Andre to actually hold back and then come in just when he actually thinks the gank's going to start. Venomancer being just over the edge of that cliff did actually mean that, well, he looks pretty juicy there for NextKz. But in the end, unable to get the kill because the Ancient Apparition being in that position. Shaker up on the top. There's that Fissure trying to hold Windrunner in place. Also, top watching right now too. Just her holding back that Windrun ability. She doesn't want to have to use it. She doesn't have to. Save that mana. Stay in close. Doesn't want to have to fall back. And now we see Ancient Apparition also coming up towards the top lane. Pops off that Cold Feet, and that will actually force him. Oh, no, we don't see the Cold Feet pop off. But does actually force him back with just standard attacks. Lich going to have an interesting time on that bottom lane. Spectra's just going to want to farm. It's going to be harder for Spectra as well. Yeah, so, well, hello, Wish Doctor's coming back in again, bouncing, but doesn't bounce on the cask. Need to be closer, so Mitch just being in a good position for that as well. That tri-lane on top is really... Oh, I'm a little bit worried right now about this tri-lane. There's still a good fissure, but there's a small gap for him to get back out of. Faceless Void is definitely going to get some early farm. Coiling Blade going to make that a lot easier as well. But Windrunner can still farm from range, and the tower is pushed, so she's still getting up the level. She's still got the Windrun to actually escape. And their trade-off is Lich on the bottom lane, who at this point is not looking pretty good for gold-wise and can't really get close enough to actually do anything about this Spectre farm. Not with Dazzle there, at least. So Spectre's just going to be free farming on the bottom lane. There we go, Dazzle. And he went that one level on Poison Touch as well. Just that harassment, so Lich knows if he leaves that tower, then all is going to end badly for him. The brighter side for Lich, however, is though he actually has this sacrifice ability, so sacrifices one of his creeps, gives himself some mana, and he can use that to harass Spectre down a little bit. I say a little bit, it's not going to do that much damage to Spectre early on, and whoop, hello, first blood is actually by the Witch Doctor on the top lane, Venomancer. Why am I saying on the top lane? Venomancer's in the middle lane. Kill behind the tower, so it must have been from the Maledict. So we're off to a fantastic start, missing the first blood already. I was waiting for this to actually happen though, and Spectre to actually dagger in, but didn't actually happen. So Venomancer already TPs back in towards the middle lane.
Denied.
Windrunner really in a fantastic position up here. Can't get pushed on the tower, because if they come in too close, they're going to take way too much damage from the tower, and the creep wave will be destroyed off pretty fast as well. That's the beautiful thing about Power Shot. Destroys the creep wave off. The tower helps you finish them all off. Gets you that easy farm. It means your tower doesn't take any damage. It means the heroes actually can't dive the tower as well. Once the creep wave actually dies, they won't feel safe actually diving that tier 1 tower. If the creep wave is there, the creep wave will actually keep the attention of the tower, which makes life a lot more easier. Venomancer still there in the middle lane up to level 4, but Night Stalker he'll be happy he was involved with that fight. Probably not going to be happy that Witch Doctor got the kill, but considering Witch Doctor got the kill, it means he's actually got boots right now. Not an item which you always get Earthshaker hanging around the mid. That's the one big difference. Earthshaker unable to actually run into position fast enough where Witch Doctor can because he actually has those boots. So it's a good thing early on the piece to give a little bit of farm to your supports. Your supports actually need to help you early on the piece before you actually hit that mid game. Night Stalker fantastic in the first 2 sessions of nighttime. Bounce done. Just harassment there. It's not much more than that. He had the mana, so may as well use it.
Not so.
In the meantime, 2 Spectra. Waiting for him to actually think about going on this. I do actually have a meat wagon here. Well, I say meat wagon, I'm talking about a siege creep. Warcraft 3 terms in my brain. So they are going to do a small amount of damage towards the tower. Really don't want to push it out too far, though. Unless you'll keep that creep wave held back, and they really require that tower to hold the creep wave on their side of the river. That makes Spectra's farm a lot less riskier. So if they take out this tower, sure they get the money for it, but then they can get ganked around the side or ganked up through the river when they actually go through. So it's dangerous to actually do so. Venomancer, interesting to actually see his build as well. We've already got level 2 on wards. So realizing he's either going to have to be massively defensive or he just wants to help try and push out this middle lane. Wards up at level 4, and it'll be pretty hard for the Night Stalker to actually move pretty freely. Well, actually, it won't be hard for him to move around. It'll be hard for his supports to actually stick with him. Second line of wards. Gotta be careful not to lose these guys too. They are worth money if you actually kill them. Witch Doctor running up towards the high ground. With Earthshaker here, it's impossible for them to actually really find an opening, but there's just harassment there with a Void from Night Stalker. The reason why, because he actually has that regen room bottled up. So he can pop off as many buildings as he wants to. And then we'll just pop off the regen. And get all his mana back, get all his life back if he actually wants to dive as well. So we've got Courier flying out, Vitality booster, so Vanguard is currently on the way for the Night Stalker. He's actually only about 300 gold away from completing his Vanguard, if that is for... Yeah, it is actually for him. So first stage of night now comes up, and the NextKz will really want to actually make the most of this. And actually bought boots in the end, so let's go the extra movement speed. At nighttime, when you stack up the movement speed with the boots as well as what he actually gets with the Hunter in the night. Surprisingly, he's actually only at level 2 at this point. Considering how much time he's had there in the middle, most Night Stalkers by the first nighttime will actually pop level 6.
Beast.
If not very, very shortly after.
Regeneration.
The Venomancer finds the haste room, but the regen's popped off by Night Stalker. He knows he can't go on. He can't go on Mitch. And Mitch is making life a living hell right now with those wards. Night Stalker does not want to push back past them. The Baliner early farm is really not something they want to give out to him. Those boots still sitting back at the base though. And Courier looks like it actually flew down towards the bottom lane. That Vitality booster was actually not for the Night Stalker. It was actually for the Spectra. We'll check out the Spectra's farm. 30 for 12 at the moment. Void's actually doing a crap load there though. 43 for 7. Really good farm for that Faceless Void on that top lane. He's already bought up his treads as well as actually having 940 gold. Interesting to actually see what type of item build he does decide to actually go for in the end. Oh, Shaker finds out Witch Doctor. It's been a failed gank attempt in the middle lane. Surprising actually to have a failed gank attempt when you got a Night Stalker on the field. That never happens. She goes up to level 6, actually grabbing his ultimate as well. Not something which always happens. Actually, Vanguard is completed there on the Spectre by 7.5 minutes in. Just very, very unusual for, well, there's that Urn Charge as well, so there we go. Yeah, I'm just really, really surprised that a gank actually didn't work in the middle lane unless Witch Doctor was completely called out of position. It is hard for him, and that's what I was talking about with the support heroes unable to get past the Venomancer wards. Night Stalker might be able to dive it, but if he's losing his support hero, he tries to actually help him out. Even face the Void. Looks like he's actually going to go either Battle Fury or Vanguard. Choices are his. I'd like to see him go Mask of Madness early on as possible. Mask of Madness, fantastic item when it comes to Faceless Void. Gives yourself some lifesteal. No matter what happens, you can always get yourself some life. And you attack a lot faster too in the Chronosphere. That's the bigger upside of actually having that Mask of Madness. You've only got limited time in that ultimate of his. And now the gank's going to come towards the top lane, so Night Stalker's left out. This is actually generally what causes the plays. Like, generally, okay, where's my kill going to happen? We've only got 2 so far, and I've had horrendous luck this morning actually knowing where they're going to come from. But generally, Night Stalker is the one that sets it up, but Night Stalker hardly even left that middle lane. Like, the kill happened on mid. It happened just behind the tower. So it was just a push forward. The roaming from Night Stalker has been next to absolutely nothing, so he's just using this first time of nighttime to farm up. And while they're still going to be good for him because he's going to get farm, he's not really going to be that knowing pressure on the entire lane. Actually, Andre now in a little bit of trouble. Hey, at least we get to watch one kill up here on the top lane. Ancient Apparition is completely dead right now, or maybe not. Faceless Void leaps himself in. Windrunner, though, with the Windrun ability, able to actually put on the evasion and actually attack through. And Faceless Void, well, basically tried to help out there. Time walked across, tried to slow it down, and now Windrunner just comes up and harasses.
From the slow.
Considering Ancient Apparition is now gone, doesn't really fear the stun, doesn't really fear Faceless Void going on him as well. If she can force him to actually pop off that Chronosphere early, then life is good for her. Get that ultimate to actually be wasted. And Faceless Void doesn't really have enough damage right now to actually kill off Windrunner in that time. So KZ can dictate those terms until Ancient Apparition has to walk back towards the top. He is completely raw. 2 Ironwood Branches and a Healing Salve. He has absolutely nothing. Now in towards the mid lane. Interesting that Venomancer also went up with Strength Treads. Really feels like he's being harassed a lot there in the mid lane. Considering he's actually using a lot of Venomancer wards right now, you would have actually expected something like more like Intel Treads. Give yourself that extra mana pool, mana regen. Make life a little bit easier. Top lane, a little bit of trouble right now for Windrunner. Does get caught out. So Lich up on that top. Looks like, well, actually cold feed it up. There's not enough mana to actually go for that. Just normal harassment with the Ice Vortex. It's a little bit of slow. Night Stalker setting up right now in the middle lane, currently with that Invis. Mitch needs to actually be in a better position for him, though, and Wishshot needs to get a little bit closer. He needs that extra stun. Mitch getting slightly blocked there by the Invis Night Stalker. And Night Stalker doesn't really want to go this. If he does, then Lich and ES will just pounce him straight away. It might actually happen. No, Night Stalker still actually has another 10 seconds on that Invis rune. And he wants to get some farm. At this point, he's just missing. He sees all 3 heroes and then realizes it's basically worthless going in there. On the bright side for him, though, Wishshot had a little bit of time to actually level up then. That's probably the reason, too, why Night Stalker actually stuck back so far. Now they're thinking about going Venomancer. It's not really going to be possible. Not unless Wishshot gets an amazing bounce stun on the cask. And then also coupling with the Maledict in his ultimate. Then they might have a chance of killing him. But at that point, you have to tank up the entire Venomancer ward line here. Night Stalker should really do exactly what he's doing. Get yourself in there and actually attack those wards down. You're going to take a little bit of damage, but it's also going to be money for you. Venomancer wants to throw down the wards. You get those last hits. You get that money from those wards. Especially considering how aggressive he's been with his positioning. But Night Stalker really just wants to farm at this point. 12-minute rune doesn't spawn top. So we'll actually go the way of the Dire. They're going to run down towards the bottom lane. So Miss GL's going to be happy to pick that one up. The 4 GL. Windrunner straight up towards the top lane. Ancient Apparition is back here again, so he's wanting to keep a little bit more of a closer eye on that AA, but Windrunner up to level 8. Having a really, really good time up there. Most Windrunners really get shut down early on. That's one thing they haven't done for the Windrunner. You just see the effect of that too. Ancient Apparition forced to pop off that Healing Salve. Now he's actually only got 2 branches, and that's it. As far as our farm goes, it's still Faceless Void leading the way. Spectre's having a good time on bottom lane though, and that's as far as denies go. And Night Stalker's actually waiting for a gank here on the bottom lane too. And Spectre wants to go this and daggers up. Even if he doesn't want a dagger, he can actually haunt into all these fights as well. Actually just having the Shadow Priest there in that middle lane does make you worry. And now we're going to go middle lane. Good AA ulti, good chain up as well. It's that global presence, man. It's that global presence. Wish Doctor was only just a couple of steps away. But with the Venomous Scale slows him down. He couldn't get himself fast enough out of the range of the AA Ultimate. And the AA Ultimate dealing off the damage, stopping the regen, and causes the shatter if you're below 10%. You just never know when that fight's going to come when Ancient Apparition's on the field. And it's such a low cooldown. Massively low cooldown on it. 45 seconds, every ultimate will just fly out. So whenever you want to initiate, whenever you want to think, okay, one hero is just hanging just a little bit too far closer, then you basically just throw that ultimate out and just nail them down. And they're setting up good positioning as well. Venomancer's Wards actually holding a line, and here we go, because they're holding that line, the Venomancer Wards, the AA ulti will generally actually hit them, but yeah, Night Stalker and Shadow Priest just holding back a little bit further then. The Wards actually going the opposite way of what I was actually trying to say they've actually been doing so far. They hold the line saying, okay, that is the line where heroes are going to be. No matter what happens, they won't walk past this point right there, but they will also stay around whoop, hang on, whoops, clicking on the wrong thing. They will also stay around this point. If you can see me drawing on the mini-map, if you don't have your window in very, very minimalist. So if they stick around here, you're always going to hit your ultimate. So this helps actually set up positional play. That's going to be really careful when Night Stalker gets bigger. He'll just munch these wards up. He's still not that big. Like, we're looking at 1,100 gold. He can complete up his treads if he wants to. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea at this point. The next nighttime phase actually still a while off, so if he actually wants to try and go BKB or complete up a Vanguard or complete up some form of health regen, or at least extra life points, they're not actually leaving the top lane, so interesting. The Leaf Faceless Void to actually free farm, that's not a good thing to actually do. The Windrunner's coming down here to try and help out with his Venomancer. Venomancer out leveling, well actually same level as the Windrunner. Out leveling every single other hero in this middle lane. Really done a good job of actually holding onto that tower. Night Stalker with just one of his illusions caught out the Earthshaker behind. Now the push will come in. Venomancer's War's just being pushed to a back position now. Back past the tower. Venomancer also with a lot of money, 2.1k. Hasn't bought up, well, didn't go Arcane Boots at this point. He just, well, he's gone. He's still sitting on normal strength treads. I'm wondering what Venomancer build actually wants to go. Will we even see like a fast sheep stick? Do we see the damage building Venomancer with the Manta style? You can play multiple ways. I wonder if she set up a gank on the top lane too. Or actually smoked up to do so. So Windrunner, Witch Doctor, and Shadow Priest will be coming in from behind. One from front will be Night Stalker. Already using the Time Walk. That's a critical thing to actually lose the Shackle. Not able to actually latch onto anything, and Void pops off the ultimate. The bounce down actually holding him in place for this one, while Lich kills off Spectre on the bottom lane. We're going to watch Void die on the top. That was the more important kill to actually get. Not to mention to actually have Void pop off his ultimate. The 3 heroes on the bottom lane managed to kill off the Spectre, so it's a bit of a tip for tat. They really needed to actually stop Faceless Void, and yeah, he is going Battle Fury. So it's all about the farm for him. Get that extra cleave damage. It looks like NextKz are sick of that top lane actually having the best position, so they want to try and kill off this top tower. They can do so pretty easily as well. Destroying off the creep wave will not be hard at all. And if they ever just go low on life, that's when the Witch Doctor's there for heal. Spectre TP's back down towards the bottom lane. He still does have his horn if they do actually decide to initiate on the top. But NextKz do actually kill off the top lane. Witch Doctor once again claiming the last hit. Claims the first blood as well as claiming the last hits. Because of that, that's why we've got Mana Boots. On Mana Boots, we've got heal from Dazzle. Also interesting to actually note too that Dazzle not actually getting a level up on his Weave. He's got 3 on Poison Touch. Interesting choice to actually go. The Weave is actually, in my opinion, a crap load more useful when you can keep boosting up the armor of everybody around you, as well as reducing the armor. It's a big negative armor effect, so if you want to get that gank off, if a fight lasts any longer than about 5 seconds, then the Weave is critical for it. Witch Doctor and Shadow... I keep calling him Shadow Priest. Dazzle. My bad. Is heading back in towards that middle lane, so they might be looking at another tower push right now. While Faceless Void is back up on the top lane. Spectre dying off again, actually now in the middle lane. Shackle shots held on the Earthshaker right now. It's not enough to actually kill him. The bounce down's not there. The 11 HP. Shallow Grave on Windrun trying to hold her in, keep her alive right now while she's being held in place. And Night Stalker, negative earn charge on the Lich. It might be enough to actually kill him at this point. In fact, yes, it actually is. Witch Doctor with the Maledict is actually what kills him. And Night Stalker will pick up the retreating off Ancient Apparition. So the trade-off for Spectra, who actually died just back past the tier 1 tower. So must have haunted in, then got stunned in. And Earthshaker very, very lucky to actually escape out of that one. The tier 1 tower will be the other trade, so Spectra for a Lich and Ancient Apparition. It's kind of a iffy kind of off trade, but if they pick up the tier 1 tower as well, it's going to be well worth it. Fissure actually trying to slow them down right now, but the Fissure actually not really stunning anything. No deny on the tower. We have a pause out from 4GL, which does give us time to actually check out the gold difference as well. Also interested to see if Mitch or Earthshaker can do anything. Earthshaker's already used his stun at this point, so they can't really initiate that much. But the rating getting a little bit more control over the money back. Just recently, two of those two tier 1 towers going down. So we see the gold difference got about 1,500. It's not the best advantage of all world. So we've got a bug on a keyboard, so we'll actually have a couple of seconds, or a couple of seconds, more than likely a minute, while they actually disconnect from the game and reconnect. And this time too, we'll also just actually go over our next games coming up for today. We were actually going to do BX3 Old Rangers versus Orange Esports to actually start off today, but in the end we kind of said, you know what, I got a lot of emails from people actually asking to actually see Gamers League, and it was one of the teams which we weren't actually casting from the second group. We're like, okay, maybe we can rework this, and it was just changing our first game. So that's why we're doing NextKz versus Gamers League, and next game will actually be BX3. With the team going up against Orange Esports right now. They'll be going up against Na'Vi, so Na'Vi will be coming up next. I'm really looking forward to seeing Na'Vi's first game of the day. Na'Vi having a bye for this first one. It's an automatic win because Blast Gaming was removed due to sponsor issues. They never actually got themselves to ESWC. That's the reason why they're taken out of the competition. So we'll actually having Na'Vi coming up next, and I'm really, really interested to actually see exactly how they're going to be playing. If it's going to be the confident Na'Vi, or if it's going to be Na'Vi with a couple of like, do we go? Maybe, kind of thing. Because if that's the kind of Na'Vi I see, I'm really worried about them in this competition. If it's not the Na'Vi we see, and we see the Na'Vi that we saw at the International, then hell frickin' yeah, we're going to have ourselves one amazing final series. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Monkey going up against Na'Vi. That for me will be a highlight match in this tournament. NextKz will then be going up against Orange Esports. So the guys we're watching currently on the Radiant side, they'll be going up against Orange Esports, the boys from down in Malaysia. And well, hello, we're starting off again. There will be no initiation there. But to also cap off too, so we'll have NextKz versus Na'Vi, and Na'Vi versus Orange Esports will be the final game of the day, which will actually be played on the main stage of ESWC as well. Hopefully they'll choose that match. The other one is NextKz versus BX3, but the big match will be Na'Vi versus Orange, so more than likely they'll be up on the main stage of the ESWC. We of course will be casting it from here though. Of course, we are not in Paddy. We are back here in Berlin. It's actually only a hop, skip, and a jump away. It's actually not that far to drive to Paris. Could have been at ESWC, but we were not just, well, there was actually no way we could stream from there. The internet is nowhere near good enough. AL's going to hit here on the middle lane. It's actually not going to hit perfectly there on the Night Stalker. That's the one they didn't want to actually hit on. Well, I was unable to actually hit, so Night Stalker still taking some early damage, getting caught out there and being pushed back there by the Fissure as well. But he has completed up his Vanguard boots, and that's really going to help him when we go into this next stage of night, which will happen in about 30 seconds time from now. A lot of earn charges. In fact, he actually just pops off his last earn charge. Seeing as she uses that too when the restoration's coming up there by Dazzle. And looking down towards the bottom lane, Spectra. Lich and AA. Might be thinking about another gank. Shaker's down here as well. But we have 4 heroes from NextKz, and it's nighttime. Instantly popping that ultimate, converting daytime into nighttime, but also extends the nighttime. The ultimate turns the time clock to midnight. every single time turns it to midnight. And the best thing about that is you can actually extend the night time by actually doing that. Now even Witch Doctor gets himself a points booster. In the meantime, though, we just see Night Stalker diving through with the double damage. He's got 4 heroes there. He's trying to actually walk around the trees and juke at the moment. And with Windrunner just hanging in the sidelines too. It doesn't look like 4GL want to try and initiate on that. A DDing Night Stalker during the middle of nighttime. Not the best thing to actually try and live up against. Now, if they needed to, Spectra could have haunted in. A simple haunt. Probably doesn't want to really do that just yet. Really wants to stay on the farm and then push down these towers. Almost there at the Sacred Relic. Once at the Sacred Relic, Radiance won't be far off. But decide to actually go the Vanguard first. So we've got Phase Boots as well as Vanguard. Already Venomancer with those wards. Mitch being the absolute pain in the arse as far as the Radiant actually go and their ability to actually push. The Power Shot, of course, doesn't actually affect the Plague Wards. So it's like actually adding another tower's worth of defense there. Mitch also going up for that Hood of Defiance. Looks like he wants to try and create up that pipe as fast as he can. Oh, hello, Chronosphere. It's got 2 of them there, but what's even better is the Lich Ultimate. Fantastic combo. Fantastic combo there by 4GL. That really makes it really difficult right now for the Windrunner. Good AAL is going to fly in. It's going to hit there on the Night Stalker. And Shackle Shot. Fantastic there by KZ. Holding the Void as well as Venomancer in place. And she will Windrun herself away from that fight. Just the combo there. Caught out 2 heroes. It's always the hardest thing when you have a Lich Ultimate. Catching 2 heroes out. And not just catching 2 heroes out. Holding the 2 heroes in place. So the stun will just bounce on nothing but the heroes. And that's exactly what it just did. Windrunner and Dazzle way too close to each other, and Void with just one simple leap in the ultimate. And they get themselves a double kill as well as a tower in the bottom lane. In the meantime, though, Spectra's actually just left and actually gone towards the top lane, so her farm will continue. And the biggest problem with that last one, actually, though, was the fact that Void didn't actually get the money. It was Lich. But on the bright side, Lich will actually have his mech up pretty soon as well. Need to get that up considering Windrunner was also building the same. Windrunner is just a little bit behind Lich now because of those 2 kills. But to actually have a mech as well as a pipe up on the Dire side already. There's got to be a pipe coming up as well from the Radiant at one point. Really trying to negate that effect there of the Ancient Apparition ultimate. The ping's right now on Roshan. Don't know if they're thinking about doing this. Would be dangerous to actually do so. I apologize as well. I know you guys can see me doing that. This caster is used to casting at night, but ESWC running through from the early mornings. I live in the nighttime, man. I'm like, I kind of like feel where Night Stalker comes from. If I had his ultimate, we'd be casting that right now. We'll put the sun back down again. Dazzle hanging on that bottom lane. Just babysitting that Spectra. Spectra still not up towards that Radiance. Even though we're 23 minutes in, he can't go, oh, well, he should have Radiance by 23 minutes. Like, Syllabear has it at 15. With that Vanguard, it really does set you back a lot further. And he would actually have that Radiance by now if he didn't buy that Vanguard. But with the amount of times he actually died, I probably just realized, okay, I'm going to get ganked pretty hard. That's the problem with Spectra, and this is what I was actually talking about too. Like, you do need to have that level of defense. You do need to have that level of regen as well as HP. And the extra HP you get from the Vanguard. And then you got to get the damage on top of it. Boy, such a big fun dependent hero. Big jump in right near him from Badar. He does actually get stunned there by Wish Doctor throwing out the bouncing stun. The Lich Ultimate does go as well. There goes a Shallow Grave, and then the 4-star back by Windrunner. Not a single person dead yet for the Radiant side. Night Stalker, however, gets caught by his own creep wave with the cold feet. Earthshaker pops the ultimate. There was enough creeps there to actually help him get that kill. Bounce stun by Witch Doctor, trying to help out the Dazzle to get out, but the Fissure will be there, and Witch Doctor will be the sacrificial landmine hit now for NextKz. And 4GL get themselves 2 kills in the bottom lane once again. It's not the important ones though, they want a Windrunner as well as Spectra. And Spectra just basically bails and heads towards the top lane to farm up the remainder of the money to actually get towards that relic. And now actually has the 3,800 gold required. More important thing too is Windrunner didn't die, which means the mech will come up for the next fight. Or at least not yet. He's still 170 gold away from completing that. Might even see 4GL think about going Roshan at this point of the game. They're controlling that bottom lane pretty nicely. They can push out their mid. Venomancer wards really help to actually bring down Roshan as well. If you can get him to actually attack him, depending on the position of it. So we might see Venomancer set up for that at one point. It's great to see that pipe already completed on Venomancer as well.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Really makes it hard the second anybody wants to pop off any form of magical damage. Witch Touch is like, hey, I'll throw down my ultimate and I'll throw down my Maladius. Oh, hang on, that doesn't really work. Man, to see about going in the middle lane. Really think about going in the middle lane. He's got to be really careful, though. 4 heroes hanging around. They could have just turned around to fight that. He didn't know when Lich Ultimate will come off cooldown. It's only 15 seconds away from coming off cooldown, but he did not know that. And Venom's ulti's up. Ancient Apparition's ulti's up. Shakers, of course, will be down. It's a lot longer cooldown for that one. Spectra sending his illusions in. Just buying them some extra space at this point. We do see at least the Relic up now. So Radiance, at this rate, should be completed in about 2 minutes' time. They're really, really going to need that. Not to mention the extra damage they're going to get out of Spectra just by having that Radiance, by having that Relic. The Relic, of course, giving that extra damage, extra 60 damage with every single hit. That's what goes. That's why Radiance is such a great item when it comes to Spectra. Not only do you actually get the extra damage, once you actually get towards the Radiance, it gives a burn effect, and when you haunt, the burn effect comes from every illusion as well. Fisher now on the bottom lane, and the actually setting up there for the Great Deny. Good communication actually coming out then. Bizarre actually get the stun off, and then Mish just with the last hit. And they turn that pretty nicely to stop Spectra. If you actually got that last hit, that would be the Radiance completely done with the extra gold you get from lasting the tower. Courier flying around. We've got it right now, Eagle Song, as well as the Battle Fury. So Butterfly will be coming up next for the Faceless Void. It's a lot of farm for him, and he could do it so fast too. That's that cleave ability you get from the Battle Fury. Normally you'd have to do that one by one. But in this case, it's easy creep camps for him as well. Easy money, easy money. Just wipes him out hard and fast, jumps in towards the lane, farms up. And if he needs to actually help out, or just TP in towards the tier 2 tower and then just give support from that point. But this Void is getting way too fat right now. By the way, when I say fat, I'm actually referring to the fact that when a hero actually gets a lot of farm, it's kind of like those the old-fashioned guys from the medieval periods with those big-ass bellies. It's like, well, yep, they can actually afford food. That's the reason why they're fat. Mantis now with a haste rune. He's actually got a cloak up as well. Might be thinking about going for that Hood of Defiance. He might also be thinking about being the one to actually go for that pipe as well. Just checking out the rest of the heroes. Yeah, it looks like he might actually be going for that pipe. Not a bad thing to actually go. Wants to actually have that magic resistance. Probably doesn't want to spend that much money on that though. Tier 1 tower. Either should get denied up here on the top lane or brought down. It goes below 1300, and that Siege Creep still actually attacking him from behind, so you've got to get the right timing right now from KZ. Get the last hit in that tower, man. Void just walks in, takes it. Also setting up a gank right now, Venomancer. Lets off the Gale on the Night Stalker. Night Stalker might think about going this, especially during the... Oh, actually, if he popped off his ultimate. Thinking that's the reason why Venomancer wants to go, is during the daytime right now. But they know that ultimate won't be far off. Lothar's a Shadow Blade as well, yeah, for the guys out there. They've changed up a couple of names in the world of Dota 2. But for a lot of people, hello, Weave now popping off. Watch that negative armor go. Void jumps in. He's only got 2 right now, but the Lich Ultimate's going to hit perfectly because those 2 are just by themselves. Bounce tries to actually slow them down, but with the pipe up, all the effects get cancelled. Spectra now haunts him. He wants to take on this fight, but he gets really locked in place there by the time lock. Ancient Apparition does actually die during this fight too. And, well, Faceless Void just leaps himself over the top, gets the kill. Night Stalker was the one that was actually in there, damaging down the Faceless Void. Earthshaker also going down too. It's that Witch Doctor Maledict. Pain in the ass, but Night Stalker the only one to live here by NextKz. And there was the Radiance was actually done by that point too, so everyone was getting burned by that. Well, it's just that good Void ultimate combined with that Lich ultimate just destroy off those support heroes before the battle even started. Like Wishshot was sitting on the sidelines trying to go, okay, yeah, cool. I can throw a cask, but I've just lost my 2 support heroes as well. Windrunner as well as Dazzle going down so fast. There was no shallow grave, the weave was already popped off. There was no heal to keep everybody alive. And that's what happens when you lose those 2 heroes. Such an amazing ultimate that Faceless Void actually has. That Chronosphere. But it's also very, very risky as well. If you get it wrong, if you get the positioning wrong, you can really lock your team out of a fight. There's a lot of pressure on the Void. But he has completed off that butterfly already. Extra evasion, extra attack speed, extra damage on the attack as well. Now drop against Quelling Blade, he'll pick up an Aegis the Immortal. And there's really nothing NextKz can do about this. They're completely out of position. At this point, Spectre's on the top lane. The Haunt's on cooldown for another 25 seconds. And Roshan will go down. Faceless Void picks it up. Powershot tried to help out, but that was basically it. Earthshaker, he did die on that top lane, but looks like he's actually managed to purchase up a Blink Dagger, which is now flying out. Big item there for the Earthshaker as well. Not only is it going to help with those team fights, like Faceless Void ulti is enough. Same with the Lich ulti, same with the AA ulti. All 3 big, massive team fights. And then the Venomancer ultimate as well, if you want to throw that in towards the mix. But it's the big Earthshaker ulti when he jumps in towards the middle. If he gets in close before everybody actually dies, you pop that one off, you deal the extra damage, and then all the other ultimates basically become massively more effective. So massive team fight potential. And that's what we've seen so far too. It was a bit of a mistake coming out from NextKz to try and fight that top battle. They had to in the end though, because they were forced to actually do it. But they had to find a way of actually not fighting it on the terms of the Dire of 4GL. Spectra. But the Radiance Burn able to push out this bottom lane pretty fast. It is the upside of Spectra. Like I said, Spectra's a very, very farm-intensive hero. But the upside about it being a farm-intensive hero is Spectra. You can basically just push a lane by yourself, and if somebody's going to if someone's actually pushing like the top lane by themselves, or if there's like a big push coming from the top, and you're stuck down the bottom all by yourself, you just cast Haunt, and you can jump to any person on the map. Just cast off the Haunt, your illusion will appear next to every single enemy hero, and you just basically pop the reality. There's that one there, so just pop off your R button, and off you jump. You'll jump to whatever hero there is on the map. You want to choose to go to, at least. And you also deal with that damage if you catch somebody out by themselves. That's why it's not actually a bad idea for Haunt to actually pop off. There's a random points of the game too. It gives you a little bit of vision. And the extra little bit of vision actually really does actually help too. Like if you catch somebody just farming up in the neutrals. That's why when Prophet's actually picked up and Spectra's playing, you can't like, oh crap, seriously man. Prophet's going to have a hell of a time. If he ever gets low on life, Spectra will just Haunt, find him, and then just Haunt to him and kill him. In the meantime, Tier 2 tower on the bottom lane is actually going to go down. There's a lot of pressure here, and there's not a lot really they can do to stop this. Chronosphere is actually still up, so if they try and actually initiate, they don't initiate as a team, then 2 heroes get caught out and they get ganked off. But if they do initiate as a team, they all get caught inside the ultimate, and then the full off chain from 4GL just comes raining down on the Radiant's heads. Windrunner trying to slow down this creep wave. As well as get himself a little bit of farm while he's there. And in the end, 4GL says, okay, not really worth it to actually go that. We'll just go for the Tier 2 tower in the mid. Let's leave a ward up here on the top lane so they can realize if they're going to get ganked from behind. And also to give them a little bit of vision around here as well. It's a fantastic ward spot, this. Gives you vision over the close creep camps. Gives you vision whenever somebody from the Radiant moves up and down between the bottom lane and the middle lane.
Generation.
We hit the night time now. It's not really going to phase them, though. You also see Helm of the Dominator coming up from the Faceless Void instead of actually going for that Mask of Madness. Mask of Madness is a little bit cheaper of an item, and he can convert that to a Satanic later, which gives him a little bit more strength, a little bit more life. Shackle Shot hits for now. It's going to help to try and slow them down. He's already left the Power Shot, so there's not much more he can do until that comes off cooldown. Spectra kind of wants to go. He's basically actually going to Haunt in. Who they're going to go for? Faceless Void jumps in. Night Stalker's in through the rear. ES lets off a big ultimate. The Piper's already gone. And there goes the Dazzle ultimate trying to lower down that armor. Again, a Grey Shackle Shot holding the ES as the Lich as well as the Ancient Apparition in place. Versus the Void in the back end to play with that ultimate. Only grabbing the Wish Doctor this time. And it's Spectra who's actually still staying alive. Ancient Apparition picks himself up a double kill. No, it was actually not him. He's actually going down, which gives a double kill towards, yeah, you know what I'm freaking talking about. It's the buyback. It is actually a double kill for the AA. Spectra goes down. The Shallow Grave was trying to keep them up right now. ES Fissure should be able to kill off the Dazzle as well. They'll actually bash him and lock him in place. Venomancer with the double. Windrunner is already back and now in the play. But we'll have to fall back in towards that middle lane. 9-17. Everybody gets their mana back in a short amount of time too. They'll actually get their life back. When Lynch gets back there with the mech, won't be long before he's back up again. But even then, Faces 4 doesn't really care. He just life steals. And the Aegis Immortal wasn't actually popped off during that fight as well. So bad positioning to actually come out from 4GL when they first started that fight. But their farm carried it through. The farm really carried it through. Faces Void jumping through the back. He only managed to pick up one. Didn't really get the couple off with the Lich ultimate. In fact, Lich didn't even pop off his ultimate during that fight, which is actually the bigger problem. But that's also going to be because of this guy right here. The Night Stalker able to actually silence him up so they can really shut down those big abilities they don't want to face up. Problem is, if you don't do that, then you still got the Earthshaker ultimate, which is going to hit. You got the Venomancer ultimate, you got the AA ultimate, and then the Chronosphere. It's just so much control whenever the fights are going to start. So it makes me really, really worried. Unless Spectra gets to the point where you actually can't kill her, then it's very, very difficult for the Radiant to actually win any of these fights. Dazzle can help out, but as we saw there from Dazzle, like he let off his Shallow Grave twice during that fight. But the stayability that's coming out right now from the Dire is more than enough to actually live through that time, wait for the Shallow Grave to actually end, and then kill them. Now Spectra just stays on the farm. Probably wants to get up towards that heart sometime soon. Wouldn't mind actually even seeing a Diffusal Blade coming out of Spectra. The illusions do actually burn off the mana, and if you get rid of that mana very early on the piece, it's going to cause a little bit hard of a time for the Dire. Sure, they've still got those arcane boots, but yeah, it comes to that point. Burn that mana off. Slow that hero down if you got one just hanging out on the side there. Pop that Diffusal charge off. Dazzle trying to slow down this creep wave in the middle there. Healing up his own, which causes damages the creep waves next to it as well. But the tier 2 tower will go down the mid. And NextKz do the best thing they actually can do, and that's just let the tier 2 tower go in the mid. Windrunner is actually trying to take out the top tower, and Spectra in the meantime too is actually going through the bottom lane. And actually enters the base. So NextKz going to take a tier 2 tower on the top. If the fortification as well as the heroes back here on the main base of the Radiant can actually hold off this push coming out from 4GL, this is actually going to be a decent trade. Damage to a tier 3 tower and a tier 2 tower. Actually not down yet. Windrunner, so she's TP back again. Tier 3 tower is going to go down though, so it's not really a fair trade. Spectra needs to come back very, very soon. Does she have Haunt? Yes, she does. Barracks is going down. Holding the Faces Void in place now. Spectra's going to haunt in. Who's he actually going to jump onto during this point? ES Fissure trying to hold the Night Stalker in place. Lich pops off the ultimate, bounces around. The majority is actually on the creep wave. Dazzle will be brought down. There's a killing spree for the Faces Void. They will be forced back by the Witch Doctor ultimate. But Night Stalker, Spectra as well as Dazzle already dead. And there's that life, that stayability, the mech charge keeping everybody alive from 4GL. Apart from Ancient Apparition, he was a sacrificial lamb. But he was also very, very lean. And the mid-race goes down and the creep wave actually on the bottom lane. Still there inside the base and whoop, low force staffing the Windrunner back out again. Faces Void easily able to tank off that tower. It's the beautiful thing of the backtrack. The ability to actually miss the entire amount of damage. This will be a double raxing right now. And 4GL I don't think will actually want to push back right now. The mid lane's pushing through. They've got themselves a siege creep on the back of that one too. Bottom lane will go down. They might just fall back and push through the top tower. But yeah, they are going to in the end. Spectra's going to be up in a couple of seconds. So it looks like they just want to overextend. They'll go back, they'll heal up, they'll buy up 3,400 gold right now. 3,500 gold for Lich to actually spend. And there's that Satanic I was telling you about from the Faceless Void. So he's completed that up too while still having an extra 3k gold. Earthshaker's walking around with an extra 1,000. Couple of braces now bought up from the Ancient Apparition. So just trying to live through those fights, realizing he's the easiest target to actually kill off. And then Venomancer being our last one, who's actually bought up a Shiva's Guard. So Shiva's Guard, Pipe, and then Vitality Booster. More than likely we'll convert that into a heart later on. Bought it probably early on the piece just to go, okay, maybe just need a little bit of extra life right now. Can convert into a Vanguard if I can't get a lot of farm. Got a crap load of farm and said, you know what, I'll just buy a Shiva's Guard. So selling off the ring. Yep, there's that Reaver. So the second item to actually complete up the heart. While we look back towards the Radiant, they do actually have themselves a Reaver up on that Spectra. So still not too bad for Spectra, but he's basically the only one. Dazzle's pretty low on items. Night Stalker still has got no item in the last 10 minutes at all, which is basically for a Night Stalker should be ganking and just basically getting money left, right, and center. It's very, very lean. Even just checking out CS right now, faces forward at 338. Only 3 kills and 10 assists, so a lot of the kills actually going towards the Ancient Apparition of all people. But you see, it's also 11 for 11, so it makes up for it. 4-2 on the Lich. That's from his big ultimates he's been dropping. Venomancer helping out. 174. That's because of that good start in the mid. So a lot more farm on the Windrunner than there actually is on the Venomancer, but it kind of gets balanced out by the Faceless Void. As far as the money goes, there's our dip going down again. So 18,000 gold. This is probably going to be our final push right now by 4GL, or at least the final camp at the top lane before they push through to take out that tier 3 tower. I'm looking at a Javelin inside the inventory right now, Faceless Void. He'd probably like to fly that one out. He'd probably like to actually have another one at this point. That'll actually give him his MKB. That way nobody can avoid his attack. This is just a waiting process right now. With the larger creeps coming through the mid, the larger creeps coming through the bottom, and some good creep wave through the bottom as well. Just buys them time. Tries to split up the forces right now of the Radiant. So they have to be forced to actually put one hero on the bottom, one hero in the mid. And looks like they're actually going to rotate towards the middle lane. Looks like they actually catch off just one hero caught out of position. Dazzle's even, Venomous for some reason is actually pulling the creep wave to the side. Could be so the creep wave actually enters through the top. Will actually do so too. Next creep wave doesn't spawn for a couple of seconds. So actually not a bad pull in the end, realizing you can pull the creep wave from the top lane down. Oh, hello, looks like Next has actually had enough of this. They want to see if they can find themselves a kill. And they're going to as well. If they can catch off with this Roshan attempt, Faceless Void can do this all by himself. It's that time lock on Roshan. Roshan knows what he wants to do. He wants to hit, but he keeps getting stunned. Venomancer with the prep, the wards are going down. They spot Dazzle coming through, the gale already starts, Spectra wants to haunt in. They catch the Faceless Void inside. Will it be actually going for this? Void pops up the ultimate. Lich ultimate's not coming up. They do kill up the Night Stalker, however, and Windrunner just caught on the edge of it. Wish Doctor lets off a pretty awesome ultimate just then, before he's forced to actually be Shallow Grave to keep him alive. Faceless Void picks up the Spectra. It's a good ultimate. Once the pipe pops, the ultimate basically does jack all. 1, 2, 3, 4 gone down. Windrunner the only one to actually escape, and she TP'd out. Only reason she managed to live. At this point, it's screw Roshan. We can finish the game. Run straight through the mid lane. Finish it off. And get yourself the 3 points for taking out their first round. 4G will be very, very happy. I can understand why a lot of people actually wanted me to cast these guys as well. Let me say, basically 4GL really been focused as they ever can be for this competition. Nice Stalker thinking about having you go on the top lane too. He's going to know he can't take all 5, and Earthshaker actually blinks in, stuns. AA ulti will actually not hit there because the Force Life actually does still have its effect. Maldic now on the Venomancer. Bounce on as well. Power shot. Can be careful not to take too much damage there of the Venomancer, especially when the Maldic's on top. Nice Stalker really wants to go in there, but stun, fissured, Shiva's Guard as well. Venomancer takes the kill there with that Shiva's Guard blast. Windrunner's trying to be forced back, and the pipe pops off once again. So Wish Doctor caught right in the middle of the 4GL, but that is mega creeps now for 4GL. There goes Dazzle, there goes Windrunner, and here goes the tier 4 towers in the mid. And the GG call comes out from the boys from Kazakhstan. The NextKz. It all came down to that farm on the Faceless Void. Just so powerful. Not just the farm on the Faceless Void, it was the combination of ultimates which he just had. Like when we saw that double kill in that bottom lane when Lich basically just threw down his ultimate perfectly in the middle of a Faceless Void one. Spectra's going to haunt this. And Spectra dies instantly. The game is over. 29 for 10. Our next match should actually be hopefully coming up in about 20 minutes time. We do actually have a couple of replays we can possibly do, but we'll check those guys out in just a moment. So thank you very much for tuning in. This is our first game done. NextKz versus 4GL. 4GL are the guys taking out the points from this competition. We'll be back here in just a moment, and it will be Na'Vi coming up against BX3. Let's see if Na'Vi actually have what they had back at the International. We're going to find out in just a moment.